Question: how does one get a guru? Do they just appear when a student is ready? Well, the Ascended Masters have this saying, they've had it for many years, when the student is ready, the guru appears. And the way to describe it is that this is actually a cosmic law. And it's a consequence of the law of free will. So I've explained that we have the two basic states of consciousness we can be in. We can see ourselves as connected beings, connected to something outside of our minds, or as separate beings. And when we go into separation, we are in a sense closing ourselves off to a spiritual guru, a spiritual teacher, whereby I mean either an Ascended Master or a person in embodiment who is connected to Ascended Masters and is working with the Ascended Masters. Because we go into separation, and now we have an ego, a separate self that is looking for validation and looking for being special, being sophisticated as a separate self. So therefore, we can't actually connect to the Ascended Masters. We can't even see the value of Ascended Masters. This doesn't mean, however, we don't have a guru. Because, let me just finish the thought here. The saying, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears, does apply in the sense that when you go into separation, you cut yourself off from the Ascended Masters. But the moment you turn around and ask for help to get out of separation, even if you don't know what you're doing, but you are asking for help, the cosmic law is there must be a teacher that appears to you that can help you take the next step. It doesn't mean it's the ultimate teacher, because you might not be able to recognize that. But a teacher must appear to you that can help you start the process of getting out of separation. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have teachers in separation, even spiritual teachers, because the flip side of the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, is that the student is always ready for some kind of teacher. Because whatever state of your consciousness you are in will limit what kind of teacher you can recognize. Meaning, if you go into separation, you can't recognize an Ascended Master. You can only recognize a teacher who is in separation. And many people who are in separation, and even some who think they are spiritual, they are following what we might call a false guru, because it's a guru that is in the separate state of mind, because they are looking for validation for their egos. They are looking to feel that they are so special because they know better how the world should work. So they're not looking to get out of separation, they're looking to become more special, more superior as separate beings. They're looking for help to build up their egos, their separate selves. And they will always find a guru who can fulfill that need. Why? Because the guru you find is the guru you can recognize with your present state of consciousness. There's always a guru. You could basically say, I've talked about in some videos, that there are 144 levels of consciousness possible on Earth. And the dividing line is the 48th level. Above the 48th level, you have some sense you are connected. Below, you have gone into separation and you have lost any sense of being connected. So, from the 48th to the lowest level of consciousness, there's a range. But for each of those levels, there is a guru of some kind that is not there to help you get out of separation, but to make you feel more special as a separate being. In other words, a false guru. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to climb to the 48th level before you can recognize a valid guru, but it does mean that you have to make that shift where you may not realize it, you may not formulate it that way, but you've had enough of the suffering that comes with separation and you want to get out of it. Then there's going to be a guru at that level. So in other words, even at the lowest level, there's a false guru who is there to help you stay at that level, and there is a true guru in the sense that that guru can help you rise to the next level up. But of course, the guru at the very lowest level of consciousness is not an ascended master, and it may not be a particularly sophisticated guru. But still, it can help you grow. And then there's another guru that can help you get up. And eventually you come to the 48th level, where you connect to either a higher guru in embodiment who has some connection to the ascended masters, or you eventually, as you go higher, you begin to work out your own personal relationship with the ascended masters, which especially happens at the 96th level and above. So you can look at it this way, that whatever level of consciousness you are at right now, there are two possible gurus for you, even if you're above the 48th level. Maybe not really when you go over the 96 as much, but certainly between the 48th and 96, there's a guru who can help you feel special, and there's a guru who can help you transcend your current level of consciousness and go higher. So the question really is, which guru are you open to? How willing are you to transcend yourself and grow? How does one get a guru? Do they just appear when the student is ready? Yeah, I wouldn't even say that's the best way to look at it. I understand the saying is, when the student is ready, the guru appears. But it's not really, and this is the way it was in some previous Ascended Master dispensations. They thought that when you are ready, the Master comes down and appears to you. But the way I would rather say it is that there's always a guru, a true guru, a valid guru, that's there at your present level of consciousness. The question is, are you seeing the guru? Are you recognizing the guru? And that depends on, are you willing to transcend your current level of consciousness? Are you seeking to validate or justify staying at that level of consciousness, or maybe even going below because you want to be more and more special? So it's not really, well, you could look at it this way. What does it mean that the student is ready? It means you are open to transcending yourself. If you are closed, the guru that will appear is the false guru, because that's the only guru you can recognize. If you're open, a valid guru will appear that can help you grow. And you know, there are many, it's a very common tendency, I've seen this over and over again. There are so many people, especially in the West, where we grew up without any awareness of the spiritual path. So you come to a certain point, let's say you are a young adult, or whatever age you're at, you find a spiritual teaching, a spiritual organization, a spiritual guru. And this might very well be a valid guru. In many cases, it is a valid guru. I'm not saying that all the gurus out there are valid, but in many cases, it's a valid guru. And you're meant to go into that movement and learn something from it. But what many people reason with their outer minds is, oh, this is the ultimate guru. This is the only guru I'll ever need. And so now they are kind of, for a while they're growing, but after some time their growth slows down, but they don't want to acknowledge this. So they find all kinds of excuses for staying in that movement, because after all it is the highest. So if I just keep doing it, I'll reach the highest level of consciousness. And that's why I've talked about several times, you have a life plan. And it's very important to try and tune into that. It's not a matter of what I'm telling you. It's a matter of the life plan that you made before you came into embodiment when you were working with your spiritual teachers. And that life plan may very well say, you're meant to find a certain guru at a certain age, stay with that guru for a time, and then open yourself up to another guru. But if you insist with the outer mind on staying with the old one, you're going to miss that opportunity, or you're at least going to delay it. So that's why, again, the guru that appears to you is the guru you are open to. And until you're open to a higher guru, you can't recognize. It's not that the guru isn't there, is what I'm saying. You're just not recognizing it, because your outer mind is fixated on the old guru that you have now transcended. So finding a guru is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. Now, how does one find how does one get a guru? Well, I have met people who have decided with their outer minds. I mean, we live in the internet age, so it's easier to physically find a guru. When I was 18 years old, 1976, there was no internet. Hallelujah. You realize there was a time when there was no internet. So there was only books. But most libraries, public libraries, didn't carry a wide range of spiritual books, and most bookstores didn't either. So it feel like almost like a miracle you found some kind of guru. But today, anybody can find a variety of gurus. So what I see some people do is they decide with the outer mind. But really it's a matter of intuition. It's a matter of tuning in. It's a matter of being open. So how do you get a guru? Consider how open you are to transcending your current level of consciousness. Are you open to something new beyond the worldview you have now? Even if you are in a spiritual movement and have followed a guru for years, are you open to something beyond this? Because if you're not open, you won't get a guru. You won't recognize the next guru. And then, of course, there's another saying that the Ascended Masters have, which is, if the guru be an ant, heed him. In other words, your outer mind, your ego, might look at a certain person and say, that person isn't a guru. I can't learn anything from that person. But it could very well be that that person has something that you can learn from. And that means we have to now challenge the whole idea that gurus have to be gurus. In other words, that you have to put yourself up as a guru and put on this aura of being a guru, and the long hair, gray hair, long beard, the flowing robes, the necklaces, whatever people have. I remember one of my first videos, the person said, it's nice to see somebody who's talking about spiritual matters without the spiritual glitter. Because you see a lot of this spiritual glitter out there. But anyway, what I'm saying is, what's going to bring you forward? Right now you're at a certain level. In order to go to a higher level on your personal path, you have to see a certain illusion. And there may be somebody who is acting like a guru who can help you see that illusion. But it could also be your neighbor, or your children, or your spouse, or somebody you meet on the street. So in some cases, a person can act like a guru for you just that one time, when they tell you something nobody has ever said before. And if you're not open to that because you think, oh, that person isn't a guru, why should I listen to them? Why should I listen to my children? What do they know? Oh, this person hasn't been on the spiritual path for as long as I have. Why should I listen to them? You see a lot of these things going around in spiritual movements. You especially see in spiritual movements. There are people who have been in the movement for many years, and they think they are advanced. Maybe they even have positions in the movement. And now a new person comes in who happens to be like the little child who just asks these innocent questions. And they are just laughing at the person and not listening to what do they know. They are so new. But maybe the person is asking the exact same question that could help these people grow if they were willing to consider it neutrally. And so you have to also challenge your view of what a guru is. Because if you feel that the guru always has to be some enlightened person who is sitting up there on a throne, on a pedestal, and speaking in this guru tone of voice, you will miss a lot of the gurus that life sends at you. So that's why it's being open. As I said, the key to getting a guru is being open, but it's also a matter of you're open to hearing something that helps you see, helps you switch your mind, helps you see something you hadn't seen. And you're open to it wherever it comes from. You're not demanding that this should come to you through somebody who's an official guru. Because the guru could be somebody who's not a guru. but who just has that one thing that can say to you that helps you overcome a certain illusion. And you may sit there with some official guru and listen to him for 10 years without having that insight, without having that shift. Because he doesn't say it quite that way that clicks in your mind. So, in other words, we have to be open to the guru in whatever disguise the guru appears in. Because the important point is not the guru. See, this I think is probably where many spiritual people, they could benefit from making the shift. Because I see a lot of spiritual people out there, they're focused on the guru and the outer form of the guru. They're not focused on the message. And the important thing is the message that shifts something in your mind. I remember this. I started working with the Ascended Masters in 2002. And before that, I had, for 15 years, more than 15 years, I had been a member of another organization called the Summit Lighthouse, which had a messenger, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who took many, many dictations, some really powerful, very high, sophisticated dictations from the Ascended Masters. I listened to many of them live. And it was one of the things that helped me tune into the Masters and start my mission. But the language in the Summit Lighthouse and also in an older movement called the I Am movement was, what do you want to call it? It was a little bit like people spoke 100 years ago. I won't say it's old-fashioned, but it was more flowing language, more high-flung language. And then when the Masters started giving dictations to me, they spoke in an everyday language. Very limited vocabulary, what most people have. Very straightforward. Very easy to actually understand what was being said, whereas in some of the older dictations, sometimes it wasn't quite clear exactly what was being said. So anyway, I had been a messenger for a relatively short time. And there was this person who had been in the Summit Lighthouse, and he wrote to me. And he had studied my dictations, and there was no way that they could come from the Ascended Masters because they spoke in this everyday language. And there was no way they would stoop to that level and speak this way. And, you know, to me, the reaction I had back then was, who are you to tell the Masters how they should talk? Who am I to tell the Masters how they should talk? They talk the way they want to talk. And it was an example, as I said, this person was so attached to the form that the messages were given in the previous dispensations that when the Masters didn't follow that, he had to reject the message. So he was focused on the form of the message instead of the message itself. But see, for me also, the Masters are, they're engaged in a process called progressive revelation, which means that as the collective consciousness is raised, they adapt their message to it. And this has two aspects, which I think some people overlook, because many spiritual people are always looking for a new teaching that's more advanced than the old one. And this is one aspect. The alpha aspect of progressive revelation is they give a more advanced teaching that hasn't been given before. But the omega aspect of progressive revelation is you give a teaching that can be grasped by a wider audience. And if you are to reach a wider audience, you'd have to speak in a more simple, everyday, straightforward language. That was just what was obvious to me. I'm not trying to argue here. I'm just saying this was my reaction. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up is, how do you get a guru? Well, focus on getting the message and look beyond the outer form of the guru, because even if the guru appears in a form that you don't think is a guru, he or she or it may still have the message that you need to get.